What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, with the San Diego Comic-Con Marvel Studios Hall H presentation clearly in the rearview mirror from last weekend, there was pretty much a mixed reaction this week. Some fans thought it was incredible, others felt it was a little lackluster or maybe felt rushed. Regardless of how you felt about it, there was factually one noticeable absence from all the things Marvel talked about, and that was the X-Men reboot. They announced 2 films for 2028. The X-Men film was not among them, and one of the number one things we've been talking about outside of Avengers Doomsday has been the X-Men casting. They made no hint or mention of the film at all. Now, this is very clearly because they are in the middle of casting the film at the moment. There were no announcements to be made because they're still doing it, but we have to double back to an article that really flew under the radar and slipped through the cracks mostly because of the hype surrounding the Avengers Doomsday trailer, where Collider dropped an article under the headline, Marvel head Kevin Feige confirms controversial X-Men casting decision. And in this article, they go on to talk about how Marvel Studios is making some major changes to what they do with the X-Men team in the MCU. And honestly, it's probably for the best. We're breaking it all down. Again, this under the radar article that really paints a very, very vivid picture of how Marvel Studios is approaching the X-Men casting and what it means for the franchise as a whole going forward in the MCU. But first, if you could, quick reminder to hit that sub button, guys. Thank you to everyone who's been subbing lately and helped grow the community. If you haven't already and you enjoy the content in the videos, the best way to support us is by hitting the sub button. Again, all you got to do is be a sub, leave a comment, and in the next couple of videos, we'll announce a brand new PS5 winner for the Spider-Man drop that went live in theaters today. Again, just be a subscriber, leave a comment, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this article actually dropped from Collider about a month ago. It sourced other editorials like Variety. There are some amazing excerpts in here. I'm not going to read through all the articles. I'm just going to quote the important parts because, man, again, this really slipped through the cracks and I did not hear this talked about enough. The first quote says this: reports have, quote, indicated Marvel Studios is beginning to get pretty serious about the long gestating X-Men reboot. The next phase is about to begin. Again, this article actually predates a lot of the rumors that were coming out about Adam Driver, so they hit the nail on the head. It goes on to say, however, for those looking for some A-list starts to head to Westchester County, be warned. This will be a budget-conscious version of the X-Men, and that part is put in all bold. Budget-conscious version of the film. Now, that may make you nervous because when I read that, it made me nervous. What do you mean by budget conscious? The VFX, the writers, the directors? That's not what they mean. What they mean is they are not going to throw hundreds of millions at the cast. The article literally quotes what happened with the Fantastic Four, hiring a bunch of A-listers like Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal, giving them huge contracts, obviously doesn't mean anything for the bottom line at the box office. And quite honestly, I'm pretty sure that most fans prefer younger, lesser-known actors, or at least lesser-known actors in a general sense. Tom Holland had done films before, but he wasn't the household name he is now, and was given a chance to basically grow into the role without all the previous roles' connotation attached to them. I think that's why seeing fresh faces in a superhero role in particular really allows the character to shine through. And yeah, that can work both ways, where maybe an actor gets typecast or isn't able to have another role that's as big as their superhero role and outgrow it. I think that is a genuine fear, and sometimes why actors will just stay away from the superhero genre as a whole. The IP is strong and lives with the fandom, and if you grow into that role and meld with it, well, it's almost impossible to part the two. But in this case, when it comes to the X-Men, Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige just dropped the multi-stage Saga bit, meaning they're going to have another 10, 15 years where the X-Men are at the center of all this. Not only do they need to cast younger, which means that just by essence of them being young, they may not have done as much film or have a big as body of work as an older actor, but they actually quote Variety. They go on to say, quote, the studio is reportedly seeking lesser-known, younger actors to populate its new take on Xavier's School for the Gifted Youngsters. This was according to agents quoted last year by Variety, and it's meant to keep the cost down to make sure the focus remains zoned in around themes of youth, identity, and finding one place in the world, which again are all staple themes of the X-Men. Collider then ties this back to what Kevin Feige said on their very own roundtable, where, quote, if you saw the movie Thunderbolts, what we did with those character interactions, Jake Schreier, the director, has his pulse on, shall we say, a younger demographic, because X-Men, as it was in the comics, will be a youth-oriented, focused, and cast movie. Okay, so quite literally, the picture is very clear what Marvel Studios is about to do. They are not going to throw a ton of money trying to buy the biggest named actors to cast in the X-Men, because they know that they can't buy a win here. And that's the truth. no matter how much money they would pay, just because it's a big name A-list actor or it's an expensive actor, doesn't mean it's the right actor. And quite honestly, nothing is going to work except for prime peak casting in all of these roles. And man, they have to nail it. They have to nail it. It is so important. We will be with these characters for so long, at least a decade of Marvel movies. They have to absolutely nail it. And quite honestly, as a fan, I am all for them going with lesser known actors who maybe haven't done a lot of work in Hollywood at all, maybe not quite as unexperienced as they were with Miss Marvel, although she's a prime casting and I think Iman Vellani killed it, so in that case it worked. But, you know, you at least want to know that who we're hiring for these roles will have some staying power and has at least done some films, as walking onto these huge productions can be overwhelming, and this movie is going to have a ton of pressure on it. Look, I don't know if Marvel Studios specifically chose to take 2028 off from said pressure. I think no matter what was to come out right after Avengers Secret Wars, they were probably going to be under the gun to perform at the box office. Going with a Ghost Rider film and Black Panther 3, I think are strong choices. And I think Ghost Rider, if it truly ends up being rated R, which we will talk about in a separate video, and if that's even a possibility, will be really, really strong with the fandom. That's the type of movie you need. I personally think it needs to be rated R. That's the type of movie I'm hoping that is, but Black Panther 3 will kill it at the box office. Marvel Studios choosing not to put the X-Men movie out in 2028 tells us point blank they are not rushing that film, that they're going to take as long as it takes to make sure that movie is right, because it's going to count for so much. So I bring that up to make my final point that we're going to hear a lot of casting rumors over the next year or so. You guys see how it went with the Fantastic Four. That was about a year or two process with a ton of names coming to the forefront. I bet it's going to be the same for the X-Men. And now with San Diego Comic-Con right behind us, even though D23 is right around the corner, I wouldn't bank on them having an X-Men cast coming next weekend at that either. We're at least a year from them having another presentation where they would announce such a thing. So they've got plenty of time to get it right. Do not get frustrated or upset if you hear a name come up that isn't exactly what you want to see or who you want to see cast as a character, because that is 1000% going to happen a lot. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. If you agree with any and all of this, if this is what you want to hear about fresh faces and them not blowing the budget on huge actors, because to me, that honestly doesn't matter anyway. Do you agree? Let me know down below. I'm all ears. Hit the sub button, leave a comment to be entered for the giveaways, hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. If you like today's video, hit the like button. My name is Michael Roman. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. Find me on all other platforms with original music under the name Allfires. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.